Remember the judge who recognized the defendant as a classmate? That completely changed his life. Our life decisions impact the course of the future and whether we will succeed or fail. The legendary Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling famously remarked, "Much more than our ability, only our choices reveal who we really are." A similar thing happened to Mandy and Adam, a classmate. One developed into a kind person, while the other spent most of his time in prison. It was in the year 2015 when an unexpected meeting took place in the courtroom. Judge Mandy Glazer was stunned and saddened to run into her classmate in these circumstances. The judge was presiding over the case of a man who had just been charged with theft and burglary. Adam's name seemed familiar to Mandy, so she asked the suspect a pointless question: "Did you attend Nautilus for middle school?" Adam recognized his classmate and started to feel uncomfortable, which caused him to start crying at the question. Arthur attempted to flee the authorities before being caught, but his car encountered a tragic situation. The convict was no stranger to the courts because he had already been imprisoned numerous times. He appeared guiltless as he stood in front of Judge Mandy, acting as though his actions were appropriate and right. Adam stated that he was not afraid of Mandy or the law as he gazed directly into her eyes. But after being asked a pointless question, he started crying and dramatically altered his body language. He attentively eyed the judge after she inquired about if he attended Nautilus classes before saying, "Oh my God." Adam's head dropped in shame as he realized Mandy was his high school classmate. He remained crying the entire time, rubbing his hands over his eyes and head because he was unable to look her in the eyes. During that time he was a brilliant and top student in middle school and also played soccer with Judge Mandy. In addition, she said she was only a young girl with dreams of becoming a veterinarian the last time she saw him, compared to Adams, who was the best student and for which she always admired him. Mandy was in much pain and couldn't believe that Adam ended up in this miserable situation. Back then, nearly 30 years ago, Adam was a completely different guy, and everyone who knew him anticipated that he would achieve success in life. Like all teenagers, Adam worked painstakingly to pursue his dream of having a successful profession. As a student he excelled in science and math and spoke Spanish fluently, which he had learned on his own. Adam's family was overjoyed when, because of his skills, he was accepted into one of the best schools in the area. Although his circumstances changed, he was a brilliant student who had aspirations of becoming a neurosurgeon. However, after completing his schooling in the late 70s, the young guy was unemployed for a considerable amount of time. During his job search, the teenager got hooked on substances and all other unethical and unlawful activities. At first, his hunger was only for amusement, but as time went on, it turned serious and he found himself in serious debt. Because he was short on cash, the young boy turned to illegal measures to satisfy his wants. Although he did nothing wrong to anyone, but his activities were not rightful and he eventually had to pay for his actions. Before meeting his friend Mandy, who was now a deferential judge, Adam was accustomed to jail life and had no regrets. Both former classmates reconnected almost 35 years later, one sitting in a prominent position and the other on a bench. Adam was back in the courtroom with further offenses after only being discharged a few months ago. In an interview, Adam's sister recalled that he stopped being an honor student and began engaging in illegal behavior at the age of 17 when he first started becoming dependent on them. The offender responded positively when Judge Mandy questioned if he was guilty of all charges by casting his eyes downward. She stated to him before they parted, "I sincerely hope you can change your life around. It really saddens me to see you here." The judge then set the bond sum at $43,000 or 1 year in jail. "Just remember what I told you, it's to you to make things better, because you are one of my favorite people. I wish you were able to get through this incident unscathed and simply live lawfully." Adam was moved by the words, and he was determined to turn the tables and start his life all over again. He was released 10 months later due to his good behavior, and during that time, the convict studied a lot of books that piqued his interest in the business. After his release, the two former classmates reconnected, and Adam made a commitment to her to never again serve time in prison. He kept his promise, and 5 years later Adam is a successful manager of a pharmaceutical firm and is living a happy life. The manager still communicates with his former classmate and is grateful that fate connected them. Because it was Mandy who gave him the motivation to change his course, and her counsel permanently altered the life of an ex-convict.